Hello and welcome to the Business of Blockchain. I'm Jane King at the New York Stock Exchange, and my guest today is Charley Brady, the Vice President of Investor Relations at BitFuFu. You may not have heard of them, but BitFuFu is one of the largest Bitcoin miners in the world. Welcome, Charley, and let's start with what should we know about BitFuFu? Give me an overview of the company.
Right. So we're a Bitcoin miner, one of the largest Bitcoin miners in the world in terms of computing power. Exahash, we're probably number 7 or so. And we also, in addition to mining Bitcoin for our own account, we have a cloud mining business where we are leasing out our hash rate, which is our computing power, to institutional and retail customers. Basically, almost like a Bitcoin mining as a service, one-stop shop for Bitcoin mining.
And the cloud part of it is really a key part of your business. What makes you unique?
It's, we're the only public company that does that right now. And what's unique about it, it really allows anyone, regardless of experience, to mine Bitcoin. You don't have to buy the machines up front or worry about hosting it. We take care of everything for you. You go on and purchase how much hash rate anybody want to buy per what period of time. And you can be buying Bitcoin in a matter of minutes. So that's the unique feature from a customer standpoint. From our standpoint, it allows us to reduce the volatility of our revenue stream because we're selling these contracts, fixed contract price. We're locking that price in the life of the contract. And so we get the cash up front as well. So it's cash flow positive for us. It's more stable revenue. It's high recurring revenue, sort of depth stability. And we also still maintain the upside optionality by self-mining Bitcoin for ourselves.
Now, how many Bitcoin miners are there in the world?
Yeah, worldwide, I mean, if I look at private individuals, we're doing probably thousands of Bitcoin miners. But from an institutional standpoint, there's 16, 17, maybe 20 public companies that are actively mining Bitcoin. Again, in terms of hash rate, we're probably number 7, I think, as of the end of August. So it's become a much more institutionalized business over the past 3 or 4 years.
Yeah. And what makes BitFuFu different than other Bitcoin miners?
Yeah, it really is that cloud mining piece. That's makes up anywhere from 65 to 75% of our revenues. It's actually 80% of our revenues in the second quarter. But it really, and that's the differentiating piece for us. We're not just tied to Bitcoin. We're not just tied to the price of Bitcoin volatility. We're taking the hash rate, and we have the ability to dynamically allocate our hash rate and slide it between self-mining and cloud mining, depending on the economic environment. Right? We're looking at, say, what's the best return we can get for our hash rate? That means we mine more for self. We'll do that. In sport, selling it on the cloud side, and we'll sell it to customers on clouds.
Now, how does it work? Like the cloud mining part of it, where does somebody even start?
Right. You go to the BitFuFu website, and for cloud mining, it would bring up a window with different durations. We generally sell it at 30-day pieces, 30 to 360 days. So let's say you want to buy 500 terahash for 60 days. Click on 60 day. You say, what about 500? There's a price per terahash per day, and there's a service fee per day. And that is what those two numbers combined are what the customer pays on a daily basis times the number of days we contract. So that's the price up front. It's very transparent. The customer would then choose a mining pool to connect to their wallet mining pool, and we have our own mining pool as well, BitFuFu pool. And once they connect to there, any background check, they make a customer background check. Once that's complete, they connect a wallet to the pool, and they're mining Bitcoin. I mean, it really is that simple in that.
And it just goes right into their wallet?
It does, yeah. So the Bitcoins are being mined goes from the pool to the wallet. It doesn't come through BitFuFu. We sell the contract, and our relationship effectively will end in it with the customer as that contract is concerned.
So you're not available in the United States yet, but you think that might happen at some point in the near future?
Yeah, I do. I'm hopeful anyways. We haven't really gotten to the U.S. market because in the regulatory environment up until relatively recently, it's not been really favorable. In fact, sometimes hostile to give assets, Bitcoin mining in general. But with the new administration, some of the regime change at SEC, much more friendly, crypto-friendly environment right now. And so U.S. market is something we're actively moving into. Can't give you a timeline right now, but I'm hopeful that we do actually get into the market. It's another type of market course. We think could be a great growth opportunity.
Could be a huge market at some point. How else has Bitcoin mining evolved since you've been involved with this in terms of, people involved, the technology? Explain that.
Yeah, it started out as you could buy Bitcoin on your PC at home pretty easily with low electricity costs, and rewards for Bitcoin were high. As it's evolved and more people have gotten into it, and institutions have gotten into it, the difficulty rate, which is how hard it is to solve the math problem to get the reward for Bitcoin, has increased. And so it's gotten to the point now where you really can't mine it on your PC. You've got to use a specialized mining rig, the ASIC mining machine, which is basically a desktop computer, but it's purpose built. All it does is mine Bitcoin, calculates, trying to find that magic number that solves the puzzle. And so the more people that try and do it, the harder it becomes. And as people back off, then it becomes easy. It's very self-regulated.
Yeah. And I feel like the whole digital asset space has just really made strides over the past year or so. Stable coins and Bitcoin has hit a record high. And where do you see this whole crypto space?
Yeah, I mean, obviously bullish on Bitcoin for the longer term, but I think just in crypto and digital assets in general, much more favorable environment. Let's talk about the regulatory environment. That's been a big driver of that. But in terms of Bitcoin specifically, you now have companies, treasury companies, Bitcoin treasury companies that are going out raising capital. Those solopreneurs are going out and buying Bitcoin and holding that Bitcoin, which is obviously creating greater demand for Bitcoin. We think the amount of treasury companies is going to continue to increase. The statistics tell you, and that's going to continue to support the price of Bitcoin long term. And beyond that, there's use cases that are being built to kind of layer 2, layer 3 on top of Bitcoin. Use that for different transactions. So I think we're still probably early days of Bitcoin revolution.
And what is BitFuFu's strategy ultimately?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, we want to acquire as much Bitcoin as possible and hold it for as long as possible. And we can do that through a self-mining operation where we're mining it ourselves for our account, or we can take the profit we make from the cloud mining business and put that back into the company and either buy more mining rigs, buy more computing power, or buy Bitcoin directly off exchange. Either way, those all get us to the bottom line of acquiring more Bitcoin over time. So that's kind of the bottom line strategy. As far as moving on, expanding, and growing, we want to acquire more data centers. Control about 164 megawatts out of our 628 megawatts we have in the field today. So we want to get to a bigger footprint on that. We want to add a gigawatt of incremental capacity by the end of 2026. And owning that capacity, owning those data centers and controlling that power allows us the optionality to pivot into HPC AI at some point if that economics of that makes sense.
Yeah. And finally, I have to ask the name BitFuFu. Where did that come from?
Yeah, it's a great question. So, fu, in Chinese means a wealth or good fortune. So, bit for Bitcoin and fu for wealth or good fortune. And then we've taken that in English, not literal translation, but fu, Bitcoin fulfills the future. Is kind of the tagline we've used in the US.
Yeah. Charlie, thank you so much for giving us insight into BitFuFu, explaining the company, and I really appreciate your time today.
Thanks very much. Enjoyed it.
And that is it for this edition of the Business of Blockchain. I'm Jane King at the New York Stock Exchange.